Welcome to the show. This week we're taking a deep look inside the announcements from Apple this week around iPad, Apple Watch, details of their new ecosystem. We're going to go bit by bit through the presentation that Apple made, and we're going to discuss them all with our tech expert, Jeff Quattromani. We're also going to look a little bit at iOS 14 as we, during the show, install iOS 14 on our iPhone devices. Let's get into it.
Each year, Apple Watch raises the bar, adding new features and technology that improve our lives. This year, Apple Watch takes another big leap forward, and I'm excited to show it to you now. This is the new Apple Watch Series 6, the perfect combination of powerful features and beautiful design.
Well, first things first, let's talk about Apple Watch, because it's so much more now than just a smartwatch for those people that can afford it. Announcements from this event took into account a number of different areas. Jeff Quattromani joins us. How are you, sir?
Really well. Thank you, Charlie.
Excellent. So Apple Watch, it looks like what they're trying to do is make it more affordable and accessible to a wider group of people than ever before. Add some more features to it as well. What was the top take from you?
Yeah, look, it was interesting that we almost expected they were going to announce an Apple Watch with the tagline that time flies. We saw a new Apple Watch Series 6 and an Apple Watch SE, which is a unique model that we haven't seen from Apple before, while they're still maintaining Series 3 of the Apple Watch as well. So you're not going to have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to get an Apple Watch. The Series 3 being still available makes it an affordable entry point.
The other thing that's interesting is the ability now to not actually be required to use an iPhone to set one up. Take us through how that's going to actually work, because I would imagine there's going to be families introducing younger generations than ever before to Apple Watch because of this.
This has to be one of the smartest moves that Apple has made, because in the past, if your kids wanted an Apple Watch, you also had to give them an iPhone, which makes it a very expensive package to do. And if you've got an LTE version or a cellular version of an Apple Watch from Series 4 up to the latest models, you can actually pair it with your own iPhone and then give it to your kids or give it to an elderly parent or something like that, where they'll be able to make and receive calls on the device, send SMS. But you can also do location tracking. So have they gotten to school? Have they left school early? All those sort of details are easily discoverable on the Apple Watch now.
Brilliant. The other thing that I noticed as well was they're talking about not having a power adapter in the actual box. For some models, the more premium models, of course, are going to continue having a power adapter. Interesting insight there.
Look, I think it's really interesting that you will say it's for environmental reasons, unless you're spending money on the premium model. In that case, we don't worry about the environment anymore. So it's interesting that they're making this move. Definitely a cost saving in doing this, but also when you think about making different power adapters for every country, you can essentially have a universal SKU that goes out to all countries of the same product. So it's a smart move by Apple, but it's a really big indicator, and I guess preparing us for when they do decide to announce the iPhone 12, it probably won't come with an actual USB adapter anymore.
In regards to other elements with the Apple Watch that we saw announced, we talked about blood oxygen levels. What were they telling us about that feature?
So this is what's quite new with the new Apple Watch, and it's specific to the Series 6. It's not on the SE model, in that it's got a new sensor on it that can actually measure blood oxygen levels, which gives you a good indication as to what's actually going on with the blood flow in your body and compared to how hard your lungs are working. Now, what's interesting here is that we've always had heart rate sensors built into the Apple Watch, but now we're combining that kind of data with your blood oxygen levels to try and actually create diagnosis and actually generate symptoms for things that are happening. And Apple is talking about hopefully actually even telling you whether you might have symptoms of COVID-19 based on different readings that the watch is able to collect just from your wrist.
That would be sensational. I did notice that it is working from day dot, basically because it's not a medical device. I also still notice that here in Australia, we're not accessing the electrocardiogram feature of our Apple Watches, even though it's been potentially able to run for years. Is there any movement on that one? Because that was the great elephant in the corner of Apple Watch, isn't it? Hey, electrocardiogram on your wrist, still not working though.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually quite weird that Apple advertises this on TV. When they do their Apple Watch ads, they do mention the ECG feature, which does not work or is not even available in Australia. And that's because it needs to go through the TGA for basically being recognized as a medical device. And that makes the Apple Watch a therapeutics product. And that process does take a long time. And we've seen Fitbit want to do this, as well as Withings with their smartwatch. None of them have actually passed through the TGA yet, which is why it's not available in Australia. The blood oxygen level readings, however, is not being seen as a medical device, and that's why it is able to go straight through. They're being very clear in that it gives you an indication, and it's not to be used for real medical purposes. So Apple's been smart in the way they advertise the oxygen level reading because they don't want to go through the TGA to get that sort of certification.
And I noticed that Fitbit has just received approval from North America and Europe for their ECG component on their Fitbit devices too. So hopefully that will give Apple a bit of a hurry along for this market. And we'll talk more about some of the Apple Watch features in regards to the ecosystem around Apple a bit later. Well, let's talk about iPad, because that was a big announcement at the Expo event, the virtual Expo event that Apple has held. Whether you'd call it an Expo as such, I don't know, but it's sort of like a mini Expo that they hold on a regular basis throughout the year. One thing before we get to iPad, Jeff, I wanted to talk to you about nothing announced regarding iPhone.
The elephant in the room, right? I mean, everybody would have expected that September is new iPhone month. We all have saved up our pennies to try and afford one, and we didn't hear a single peep about it. Tim Cook opened the actual presentation by saying, we're here to talk about Apple Watch and iPad. So immediately people could have switched off in the first minute and stopped watching. We actually think that this will be an October announcement now. Obviously, delays out of manufacturing in China. You can imagine that through COVID, this is why it's occurred. But a massive, noticeable missing element here, because we all want to hear about the new iPhone. We want to know whether it's going to be good enough to compete with what Samsung has announced this year, which is around 20 different devices. So it'd be nice to see at least one from Apple.
It does show that supply chain issues are continuing to bite global manufacturing, because I heard a story the other day where one laptop company planned to ship about 50,000 laptops to Australia. Unfortunately, even though the laptops were ready, they didn't have cardboard boxes for them yet. So you have one part that isn't ready. You don't have any part of the product ready. So look, maybe they're just needing some more time. Maybe they're tinkering with the final elements of that next iPhone. Regardless, let's talk about iPad.
We are thrilled to introduce an all-new, completely redesigned iPad Air. And here it is.
Hey, baby. Hey, hey. You got me feeling punch drunk, crazy. Hey, say. It's everything I want now, maybe. Can we do it again? If you're done, then I'll make it double up. I'll raise it. I could never figure you out. Your blessings, all I ever wanted. I'm stressed. You got me feeling
This is the new iPad Air.
So iPad, Jeff, I want to talk to you about that now. What's the key thing that we're seeing with iPad? And would we be racing out to get a new one if we love our iPad today, but maybe not quite sure whether we're going to get all these new features and get a benefit from them?
Yeah, look, I think if you've got an iPad today and it's working, keep using it. There's no real reason that you need to throw it out to get the latest model. They announced two iPads. Now, firstly, they announced the iPad 8th generation, which looks just like previous iPads. Big home button, big bezel around the edge. It just runs a little bit faster. It's got the internal components of a more up-to-date iPad. But then you've got the new iPad Air. Now, this one is a noticeable change because you don't have the home button. You've actually got a screen that extends closer to the edges all the way around. And it's also got the power to now not just be a device that you consume content on, but a device that you create content on. And that's something that would have been left to the iPad Pro or even a laptop in the past. But now we're being able to do this on the iPad Air because it has got so much power built in.
And I guess that's the transition of this device, right? Because you look at Mac products, there's no touchscreen on Macs like there are on many PCs that are out there. So I guess the fit of iPad is to become, I guess, a content creation device just with ultra portability.
Yeah, and look, I think once you attach a keyboard and you've got the Apple Pencil as well that you can use, you start to really understand how much power and how much potential is in the iPad. And for a lot of people out there who say, I want to buy a laptop because I just want to do email and online banking, you start to think, well, hang on, we can probably save a lot of money here by just getting you an iPad, which will do all of those things just fine and more with that portability factor, the extreme battery life that it does have. And plus, it's just a really nice device to carry around the home for, reading the news on and other everyday things.
And then, of course, managing your smart home and all those kinds of things in that nice, safe ecosystem that they provide. Yeah, really interesting stuff. Do you think, it's almost like iPad's become the boring announcement from Apple every year, right? It's just, another iPad. Oh, what's new? Oh, yeah, okay, great. But when you want a new iPad, you just go get one.
It is one of those default kind of products that if you do want to buy a tablet, people default to the iPad. There are great competitors out there, whether it's Samsung or Microsoft, but it is usually just a consumption device. People say, I need an iPad because I'm going to go on a flight. I want to watch some Netflix content. That's fine. But when you think about actually creating content, editing video and photos, you can do that really well on the new iPad now.
Interesting stuff, though. My daughter's got a Galaxy Tab 4, I think it is, and she's cutting videos on it as normally as you and I would cut videos on a PC using a keyboard and a mouse, right? So it does lend to the fact that next generation of device users, this is the product that they're going to be using to create content in the way that we used to many years ago in a different way. So we'll watch this one with interest. Any small bits and pieces about iPad that people should know about?
Look, I think the only other thing to mention would be that the cameras on them, as much as I don't love seeing people take photos on an iPad, the camera on the new iPad Air is phenomenal and is going to be something that people actually could take almost professional grade photography with. So I don't love seeing people walk around the city holding an iPad in the sky to do it, but if you have to do it, you're going to get a great shot with the new iPad Air. It's just not a great look. The other thing too is that the iPad Air now comes in colors. We've used to just have gray, black, white. Now you can have blue and green. If that's something that people are interested in, the iPad Air comes in colors now.
May the Lord have mercy on all of us if we're going to start using an iPad for professional photography. Up next, we're going to talk about the Apple ecosystem because there was lots of new nuggets of information right there.
This year, we wanted to push the Apple Watch workout experience even further. So we are creating amazing workouts with incredible music delivered by the world's best trainers. This is the first fitness service built around Apple Watch, and we'd like to show it to you now.
Workout, trainer, time, music.
Workout. Trainer. Time. Music.
Workout. Woo! Trainer.
Thank you for swaying out with us.
Time. Music.
Introducing Apple Fitness Plus, a new service for Apple Watch designed to inspire you to get fit and stay fit.
Apple Fitness Plus joins our collection of world-class subscription services that enrich our customers' lives. These are services that so many of us and our families use every single day. And we want to make it easy for everyone to discover and enjoy them. So today, I'm excited to introduce Apple One. Apple One gives you and your family all the services you love in one simple plan. It starts with iCloud, the essential service that safely stores your personal photos, videos, and files, so you can access them from anywhere. Apple Music, where you can stream 70 million songs from all your favorite artists. Apple TV Plus, with Apple original series and films, which have been nominated for 18 Emmys in just the first year. Apple Arcade, with over 100 incredibly fun games you can play anytime, anywhere. Apple One also includes Apple News Plus, with leading newspapers and hundreds of magazines. And of course, Apple Fitness Plus, with its immersive studio workouts, powered by Apple Watch. Apple One makes it easy to get all these services and find the one plan that's right for you.
Of course, Apple isn't just a hardware device company, they are a software company, and now they're a software and ecosystem company as well. They have a music streaming service, a TV and movie streaming service. They've got a cloud service that brings all of their services together, and they're going to be doing that more seamlessly than ever before. Jeff Quattromani is with us. We're talking about Apple's ecosystem. It does look like Apple is really, really trying to get their customers to use all of their different services, and they're even going to make it cheaper to do so.
This is a big move, and it wasn't something we probably realized until they announced it, that Apple offer so many different subscription services, whether it's for storage, for managing your photos, for listening to music, and then they obviously added one more during the event, which is around fitness. When they then come to you and say, we can give you all of it for one price per month, you start to realize that A, you can save money, but B, we're very invested in the Apple ecosystem. And if we give them everything, your cloud storage, the way you manage your photos, listen to music, watch video content, Apple's offering it all for one fixed price. And for many people, that will be the ultimate convenience factor.
I noticed that Spotify got out there very, very quickly after the announcement and said that, well, I won't quote them, but the tone of the message was that this could be deemed anti-competitive because obviously they're using their device business and they're using the other multiple areas of their ecosystem to sell things such as access to Apple Music. Thoughts on that?
Look, it's true, but at the same time, you can't blame Apple for doing it. At the end of the day, Apple is actually saving customers money. And that's something that's quite unique here is that, you know, you could have had all of those individual subscriptions already. You might have already been an Apple Music customer and using the Apple iCloud. But if we're now going to be able to give that all back to you for less price per month, then they're actually doing something right by their customers. I think if you were a Spotify customer already, you're not jumping over to this. And I'm a Spotify customer. And seeing this announcement doesn't make me want to leave and go and join Apple. So I think Spotify is maybe a little too worried, even though music is their only game at the moment.
The other thing is not all of Apple's ecosystem elements require an Apple device to play it. Apple Music, of course, has an Android app. So if you wanted to have your kids, for example, I mean, we make the Jimmy Plus, which is a $100 device, and you can load your Apple Music onto that and give it to your kids and they can have access to music. You can give them that and then transition to an iPhone when they're a little bit older, for example. You've got all those different options. You are not tied to one particular device just because of this ecosystem, right?
That's true. And I think people need to remember that. It's probably when you've got a household, and there are many in Australia especially, that they all run Apple devices. You'll have a Mac, you've got iPhones, you've got iPads within the kids' hands. And then when Apple offers a family plan for this Apple One solution, you actually go, well, hang on, let's get the one plan for the whole family where we can share all of this information, share our music subscription, share our fitness subscription, and we can all live in that same world. And honestly, the cost savings across a family is significant.
Well, let's talk about fitness, because obviously you and I, we both wear smart watches. We are into our fitness, and we get a lot of benefit from having smart watches providing various levels of services. They announced, Apple that is, a personal fitness instructor for your Apple Watch. Tell us all about that.
This has to be from what I think is the biggest news of the day. Fitness Plus is a new service from Apple whereby you can join on-demand classes, and that's around 10 different workout types. So it could just be dancing and yoga if you don't have any workout equipment, but if you have an exercise bike, joining through your phone, your iPad, or using your Apple TV, you can follow instructor-led classes, which look very professional, very well put together, all for a fixed price per month. So you have a small subscription to pay every month, but then you have access to all of this workouts, and it can be shared across the family. And the new Apple Watch now also integrates with the app as well. So on screen, you'll see that workout taking place, but you'll also see your current heart rate data. You'll get notifications when you've closed your exercise ring for the day as well. And this must have upset a lot of people who are in the fitness game or are leading fitness apps already on an iPhone, where you may have already been paying a fixed price per month. Now you'll just be moving over to Fitness Plus, because it absolutely makes sense for Apple users to do that.
Think about all the personal trainers out there. Think about all the stories we've read around so-and-so, the personal trainer, created an app, and they've all got all of these customers worldwide through this fitness app that they're doing all these amazing things with, and then Apple comes out with this one. I mean, it also lends toward providing pressure to Fitbit, which has just been bought by Google and is finalizing that transition across there. I mean, this is a big feature, not just for customers, but for Apple as a commercial entity.
It's a big move. And yes, Fitbit will notice this and feel the pain immediately. If you've already got a Fitbit device, you're probably not rushing out to buy an Apple Watch as a result. But, Google, the owners of Fitbit, now must have to look at this and think how they can now do the same. Fitbit has been offering workouts on their device through the app, but they don't have this integrated approach which takes it to the television. And if you are in this COVID situation, working out from home in your living room, having an Apple TV which can run Fitness Plus is their big advantage. And when you can have multiple people in the room, all wearing their Apple Watches, all synced and seeing that data on the screen, that's a very immersive experience that no one else can offer at the moment. And you've got companies like Peloton who have these exercise bikes which have a subscription service. You've got Zwift, which is another cycling service which you can get access to. All of these brands are going to be struggling through this and wondering what they're going to do next when it comes to competing with Apple.
The other thing that's interesting is, I'll just let you put your earpiece back in there. The other thing that's interesting with all of this is that Apple's all about privacy of data, and the fact that your private data that's being gleaned from your Apple Watch will be sitting in that health app on your device. And this has been one of the concerns as raised by the European Commission around your health data, that's been generated for your Fitbit, and Google having access to that health data to sell you advertising. Now, they're not going to do that because they've stipulated and promised that Alphabet, that is, that they won't. But this is another thing that Apple's bringing to the table, and is obviously one of the reasons why they've been pushing that privacy of data message pretty hard over the last 6 months.
And it was also heavily mentioned throughout the entire press conference. I feel like they mentioned privacy on every single chance that they could. And anybody who has downloaded iOS 14 will start to notice all the different privacy features available to them now as well. So, Apple's clamping down and really just providing more notifications to you to try and prove to you that this data isn't going anywhere. It's on your phone. It's not being synced to insurers, or it's not being synced to your boss or anything like that. This is your private information. And if you are comfortable with sharing it with a GP or something like that down the track, you can choose to do so. but it's not going to be leaked or hacked in any way, which is what Apple's trying to, try and drive this trust with their customers.
Let's talk about it. Apple iOS 14. You've got the updates going through at the moment with your iPhone and Apple Watch. Any issues so far?
Look, it's been very stable for me. I was using the beta version months ago, and that was actually already quite stable on its own. So the version that's now been released for everybody, it looks great. It adds some nice new features to the device. And, if you can't go out and buy a new iPhone when the iPhone 12 comes out, that's okay, because you've got a fairly new experience running on your existing iPhone. And that's always got to be the little free treat that Apple does offer with their devices.
All right, we wait for the next Apple event, which will be iPhone, whenever that's going to be. It could be a few weeks from today, right? I mean, it's going to be pretty close to happening. Lots of Apple Watch, iPad, and Apple ecosystem goodies, and it does show you that just when you thought Apple was probably out of tricks in their bag, they just get a bigger bag. Jeff Quattromani, good to have a chat to you. Thanks for taking us through these insights into the Apple event this week. We'll speak to you again next week.
Thank you, Charlie.
And that's our deep look into the Apple event this week. If you've got any questions or comments, post them in the comment section below. We'll be back to our regular format of the program next week. We've got some special guests lined up, and we'll be going through all the tech news and your questions at that time. Don't forget to hit like on the Facebook page and follow us on subscribe on YouTube, and we'll see you here next week.